Hi, Deborah.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here.
Me too. Oh my goodness. I can't believe that it's already over a year that we met in DC at the Author Incubator. And we just had such a beautiful connection. And I'm so glad that we've kept and we've grown our friendship.
It's been incredible that it's a full year, and um, that was a really special weekend that we got to connect for sure.
Absolutely. And here's the book you gave me.
Oh,
I
yay.
Embrace Your Psychic Gifts. Um, it's like you have been a gift in my life. I consider you my therapist. You are just somebody that gets the things about me that other people perhaps I wouldn't even explain it to. And I've had therapists, different types of therapy, but I've never had somebody who has the background that you have and also can help me in the more esoteric parts that most people don't even understand, and they're very uncomfortable even if you talk about it. So before I ask you from some things that I'm really dying to know what you have to say about it, why would somebody want to embrace their psychic gifts?
First of all, I'm very emotional that you just said that. And thank you for sharing that. That means everything to me. Having connected and being able to be of any kind of guidance is a dream. So thank you. Um, why do you want to know your psychic gifts and why do you want to connect with your spirit guides now more than ever with this 2020 strange COVID year? I feel like it's even more important and moving forward into the future. And we will get into some of that. I think the most valuable piece of it is that you're the best authority on you. And there's no one greater, there's no one that has more access to information about who you are than you. And I feel like with the chaos and all the craziness of what's going on and continuing forward in the future, we have to know what's aligned, what's the most um, we're on these paths of trying to figure out, do I go left, do I go right, and we're constantly thinking, the government knows what we should be doing, or the doctor knows what we should be doing, or even the therapist knows what we should be doing. But ultimately it comes down to what's aligned for us, and recognizing that what works for you may be very different than what works even for your partner or your family member or your best friend. And so learning how to trust that guidance is probably, in my mind, one of the most important skills to have. And you have this huge team of guides that are around you, and you have access to this enormous sensitivity. And I hope it's okay to share this, but we were just talking before the call about what separates you out from the other people that do your job. And you were saying, I don't need data analytics. I have this powerful intuition. And so that's right. You are able to talk to your clients and immediately create assessments, what is appropriate and what isn't, because you're tuned in to your spirit and your guidance system and your psychic gifts. And so I think it's a really valuable tool that gives you sort of a superpower. I hate to be cliche on that one, but it does give you something that separates you from others because you're tapping into this infinite intelligence. So it gives you something that others don't have.
Plus, I think I was thinking about this about for somebody who's watching this and they don't know anything about being psychic or clairvoyant or any of the different categories that you spell out so beautifully in the book. I think that you really teach people how to trust their inner voice, to not make it something exterior, but it's something that sometimes people say, I had a feeling.
So when I first started doing the psychic work, I was doing channeling similar to, what Esther does, where you kind of sit back and the guides would speak through me. And what bothered me was that it still puts the guides as the authority in telling you what to do or giving you guidance and information. And as I've progressed and work, I think, more co creatively with my guides, I think the important thing is helping you find your own answers because you know best what's right for you.
Mhm.
So I feel really excited to imagine that that was something that you got out of it.
Yeah. And I think that that's something that I think you have very different than other people, and why I was so drawn to you is because you are not imposing your thoughts and what you're perceiving. You are enabling the person, the individual, to tap into that for themselves and at their own level. Because I've seen you work with various different levels of people with this awareness, and even people that are a little afraid of it and don't really know what they're doing quite yet, but they're drawn to you. And that's just, I mean, I've learned a lot about teaching from you, and I thank you for that.
Thank you. That's beautiful. Are you hearing a lot of external noise from me?
No, I'm hearing my dogs going
Oh,
crazy. I hope
good.
that that's not too distracting, but we'll hear this and figure that out.
Okay, good.
Um, but before we get any further, we let's talk about what's happening. I mean, it's such an exciting moment right now. What's going on with this eclipse? When is it
Okay.
happening? How's it
Okay.
affecting us? How long will it affect us?
Well, this is such a beautiful week, actually, that we're doing this conversation. So the eclipse was actually on the 14th, and it was a powerful eclipse because it was a new moon solar eclipse. And eclipses generally usher things out that no longer serve us. And oftentimes it's sort of a demarcation in something changing. And this had a lot of energy. It was a super powerful one, but it's sandwiched in between. Well, this week is powerful because on the 21st, which is Monday, we're having this super conjunction, is what they're calling it. So Saturn, which is discipline and restriction, is conjoined, which means they're actually meeting up in the heavens with Jupiter, which is expansion. So it started, I guess, around this whole COVID thing. So you have sickness and illness, restriction, we're in our homes, expansion, it's growing, people are getting the virus. And so now we're coming to the conclusion of that. But what makes this even more powerful is they're closer than they've ever been in 400 years. Is this the dawning of the new age of Aquarius? And I think it is. I definitely think it's a beginning. And so starting on Monday, we may not see it so dramatically, but I think looking back, we will see that in fact something very powerfully shifted. So first of all, we got a virus. We got a vaccine this week. We have a new president. So already there is a big change from what we've seen in the past year. And more importantly, I think going forward, Aquarius is all about community. And I think there'll be a shift in power that people will be working together more as communities. One of the things my guides talked to me about this week was that it's really important for us to use discernment to recognize what fits and what is no longer aligned so that we can master that sovereignty about ourselves. And I think that will be a big point moving forward. I think community used to be who you lived near, and I think it's going to be moving forward to more intellectual connections. That's what Aquarius is the mind. So I think we're going to be having some excitement. There's a lot of talk about whether the aliens are coming or not. I don't know if you've been looking at social media, but there's a lot of, I guess Donald Trump acknowledged that there are alien life forms. He has some task force about it. So it's kind of acknowledging that there's something like that existing.
Right.
And the reality is, many of us are, this is kind of a far out concept, but many of us don't really come from the earth dimension. I know I'm a star seed, I come from another planet. I came here to expand the light and bring um, some of this healing medicine to the planet during this, especially during this important time. And I think that you're not an earthling either. So you,
Dad told me he was from another planet when I turned 21.
yeah. So I think all of us really do come from these other dimensions,
Right.
but the concept of, you know, aliens is kind of like a little sci-fi. So
Right.
I don't know, is it going to happen? My husband and I were sitting in Santa Monica one day, and I didn't know this, but Elon Musk had put a rocket up into the atmosphere very close to where we live. And my husband and I were like, "Oh my God, the aliens are upon us." We had like a full 20 minutes of trying to figure out how our lives would be so different if that were actually true. So
Mhm.
I don't know if that's something that will happen in the future, or I do think our sense of expansion is going to change. So it's exciting. It's going to be in Aquarius for the next 400 years. By that, I mean that these planets will be going back and forth, retrograding through, but it's been in an earth sign of Capricorn. And now it's going to be moving into Aquarius. I mean, it's moving into Aquarius. So yeah, from Capricorn to Aquarius. So it's exciting. It's a very exciting time. There's a lot of energy. So everybody may be feeling a lot of energy right now. That's very much about what's happening. We're letting go of things that don't serve us, that aren't aligned, that are no longer supporting who we are on our journey. And I guess the lesson on that is to really let go. If it's not working, let it go. There's something better for you out there. So I think that's an important message for now.
And Monday is also 12/21/2020.
Yeah, so it's the winter solstice, and that's the day of this big conjunction.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of energy on this particular day, and it's going to be an exciting. I mean, I feel the energy about it. I think it's going to be exciting. I went out last night to look. I'm going to go out earlier tonight. We can see it in the sky. These two planets are together, and so I don't know where you are, what the weather's like in Florida, but go out and look. Earlier than later, I would say when it gets dark, it's probably higher up in the sky.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that tonight. So, what do you recommend that people do in preparation for Monday?
I think the most important thing to prepare is just really think about your intentions, what you want going forward, clarify the things that you would like to see that you can accomplish in the next few years. Think big, really big. Don't limit yourself to, what do I want to get done tomorrow? Think about your dreams and what's happening. I think that's a really valuable tool. I think future gratitude is always really helpful. The things that you see that you are looking forward to receiving, and also I do think when you have some quiet time to meditate and take stock of where you are and what you've accomplished. I think all of that is sort of in alignment with what this conjunction is about.
That's great. So, Deborah, tell me, how can people get this book? I know you have a new one coming out. You want to talk about that a little and
Oh,
find out more
absolutely.
about
You
you?
can you can look at it at deborahsudarsky.com, embraceyourpsychicgifts.com. There's a free download of the book. My next book will probably be out in the next maybe 2 or 3 months. Working on a second edit, and I'm really excited about it. It's going to be basically a book about embracing your spirit guides, something similar to the program we did together. And you can go online, anybody, and download the book and find me. So thank you for asking about that. That's definitely available.
Oh, absolutely. And I would love to talk again, have another one of these videos once the second book is out. because I bet there's a lot of people out there like me that need somebody with your sensitivity, with your insight, and they really don't know where to go.
Well, I appreciate that. I certainly love working with people like yourself that work in the real world doing the things that you do with these spiritual gifts. And some people have very traditional backgrounds. And so it's a little terrifying to think about. Um, I think COVID blew the water out of that. People are inside and dealing with themselves more. So it's a great time to find all the gifts that are there.
And it's a great time to use the time that you can't be going out reading a great book. So
Thank you.
thank you so much. And we'll be talking soon.
Yeah, I just to say I'm super excited about your book as well. I hope we can
Yeah.
just mention it because it just was released last week.
Yeah.
So can you just say the name of your book so everyone knows?
It just happens to be right here. The Secret Art of Non-Toxic Relationships. It's basically a guide of journaling and getting more, like with your work, more internal, and discovering the toxicity in our lives, and then also figuring out how to get rid of it, how to release it, as you said.
Exactly. It's great. I love all the little steps that you put in each chapter. So it's not that you read it and you're sort of like, now what? You actually give very practical suggestions. And I thought those tools were really helpful.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, dear, and thank you for writing the foreword.
Wow, that was my pleasure, of course.
All right, well, we'll be talking soon.
All right. I'll talk again. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Bye bye.